Hello to everybody, wherever you are. It's wonderful that you're able to join in on this virtual Gulf Thoracic Society conference in these special COVID times. My name is Kerstjens. I'm a pulmonologist in Groningen, the Netherlands. It's my pleasure to share with you the results of the Kerstjens study, especially on the simultaneous step up to high-dose fluticasone fluoride and the addition of umeclidinium for the treatment of inadequately controlled asthma. I do have some disclosures to make. I've served on advisory boards for Boehringer Ingelheim, for Novartis, for Chiesi, and for GlaxoSmithKline, the sponsor of this study. The rationale behind the study is that 30% of asthmatics on ICS and LABA remain symptomatic and poorly controlled, and up to 25% of GNAS step 3 or higher asthmatics experience at least one exacerbation per year. Therefore, it is important that triple therapy, in this case with fluticasone fluoride, vilanterol, and umeclidinium for UMEC, has been approved a long time ago for COPD, but recently also for asthma. And this approval was based especially on the Kerstjens study I'm presenting. In today's presentation, I would like to zoom in on the effects of simultaneously doubling the dose of ICS, fluticasone, and also adding in a LAMA, umeclidinium, in one of two doses. Kerstjens was a phase 3 randomized double-blind multi-center superiority study in 322 centers across 15 countries. Remarkably, it had a variable length of follow-up of 24 to 52 weeks, 24 weeks for the primary endpoint, which was trough FEV1, and up to 52 weeks for the secondary endpoints of exacerbation frequency. Patients who met all the randomization criteria were randomized into one of these 6 treatment arms via the Ellipta inhaler, but I'm presenting to you only 4 of these arms. In yellow, you see the base arm, which is fluticasone vilanterol in the low dose of fluticasone 100 micrograms. All other 3 arms had double that dose of fluticasone, so doubling the ICS dose, therefore 200 micrograms. And 2 of the arms also had umeclidinium added in, either at a low dose of 32 or at a high dose of 62 micrograms. Primary endpoint already mentioned was FEV1 trough at 24 weeks, and the key secondary endpoint, moderate to severe exacerbations. And I also have some data on this poster presentation on the ACQ asthma control. Key inclusion criteria were that patients needed to be on maintenance ICS LABA and be symptomatic, expressed as the ACQ-6 score at 1.5 or higher. In the top figure, you can see some of the baseline characteristics. The mean age was 53 years, mean pre-bronchodilator FEV1 almost 60%, considerable reversibility almost 30%, and an ACQ-7 score of 2.8, which is quite high. So they were quite symptomatic. You can also see that these baseline characteristics were well separated, well divided over the 4 treatment arms. If you look at the next figure, left bottom, you can see the effects on the primary endpoint, the trough FEV1. From left to right, the base of 100 microgram fluticasone and the vilanterol. You see a 51 ml improvement with doubling of the fluticasone, but a much greater improvement with also adding umeclidinium in either of the 2 doses. And with the combination high dose umeclidinium and doubling the ICS, there was a 143 ml difference in trough FEV1. The other main secondary endpoint was moderate to severe exacerbations, which you see on the middle graph. What you can see is that there was a marked reduction in moderate to severe exacerbations with the doubling of the FF, the fluticasone, to 200 micrograms, a 35% reduction in annualized rate, which is quite considerable, I would say, and really very minimal additional benefit of adding in umeclidinium. after doubling the ICS dose. In the right graph, you see the ACQ responders, and the ACQ responder is an individual who improves by at least the minimal important clinical difference of 0.5. So the first thing you see is that more than half of all patients improved by the minimal important difference, which is considerable. The improvement was larger when doubled in the ICS dose, and even larger when humectinium was added. The greatest improvement was with the combination of doubling the ICS and giving the humectinium high dose. Not so much on the poster, but it's good to mention also the safety profile. Actually, no major problems were encountered, no new safety signals. Of course, for a combination we already know from COPD, especially no pneumonias differentiated between these treatment arms, and no major cardiovascular problems. So in summary, therefore, simultaneously doubling the FF dose and adding the humectinium 62.5 led to the greatest improvements both in lung function and in ACQ asthma control. The doubling of the FF dose led to numerical reductions in exacerbation rates, whereas adding humectinium provided minimal additional benefit. We encountered no relevant safety signals, so adding that all up, increasing the FF dose and adding humectinium in a single step represents a therapeutic option for patients with asthma with an unmet need for symptom control. I thank you so much for your attention, and normally I would have loved to encounter and reply to questions, but I'm afraid that's a difficulty in this virtual symposium. Thank you so much.